it's the Houligan here, and you're watching part 4 of the guitar giveaway! Welcome back to the guitar giveaway. It's part 4, and we're getting really close to giving away this guitar to some lucky subscriber out there. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, that is. All right, in part 1, we did an unboxing of a guitar kit. In part 2, we did some designs into the body and the neck of that guitar kit. In part 3, we ordered in a bunch of other custom parts and we slapped them all onto this baby. And now it's looking pretty good. As a matter of fact, y'all can take a peek at it. It's looking really good right now, eh? Holy moly! Yeah, we're getting close. Now, that brings us to part 4. We got to put some strings on this thing. That's right, we got to put some strings on this thing. But before we do that, we got to address some issues. They're minor issues. What are the issues? The issues are with the neck mostly. What we have to do is we got to take the burrs off of the frets on the end here because they're pretty sharp. We've got to dress the frets because they're naked right now. And we still need to put the nut in. But first thing we gotta do is straighten out this neck. It's gotta get straightened out, I tell ya. So, to straighten it out, we've got the Allen key, ta-da-da, Allen key, and we're gonna straighten out that neck. Then once that's done, and we got the frets all done, and everybody's dressed up, looking good, except for me, we're gonna throw the nut in this thing, get her glued in place, and looking the way it should be, and then string up this guitar. String up this guitar. That's right, we're gonna string it up and hopefully do some jamming by that time. So, party on!
1 million, zillion, jillion, dillion, cotillion times later.
I hope we can straighten everything out.
All right, I got the neck ruler out here and a flashlight, and you can see I'm looking for gaps. You see there's grooves all in this ruler, and those go over top of the frets so we can actually see the wood and how straight the wood is underneath. I'm using the Allen key here to adjust the truss rod that goes through the neck to straighten it right out. All right, we got the file going here, and we left the sound of the file in the video so you can just hear how bad these burrs really were. Now I've moved on, I'm checking all the frets on both sides to make sure they're set in there properly and there's nothing that's loose that we have to glue into place. Everything looks good. We got the black magic marker out. We're going to blacken the top of the frets, and then as we file them, it'll come off and it'll show us what's been filed and what hasn't been so we can keep things nice and flat. I know it's hard to see here, but yes, there is some black on top of all those frets. So what we're going to do is try filing all that black magic marker off with this thing right here. Yeah, this is my flat sander, and it's about 16 inches long, so it'll go across all the frets nice and evenly and keep everything nice and flat and straight. All right, now I got the fret rocker out and we're going across all the frets. What this thing does is basically set you across 3 frets at a time, and if it rocks, it means the one in the center is high. And I found a couple ones as I was doing it just to make sure I got every last thing nice and flat on this. Now with our radius tool, we checked to see what the radius of the neck was. We found out that it was at 10 degrees, so we got our wood block out. And we started with some 800. Went to some 1500, to some 2000, to some 3000 sandpaper, and we got the radius on all those frets. Now we're doing some taping up here. Now the reason why I'm taping now and not before is because before I wasn't overly worried about marking up the wood. But now I am, because we're going to take a file and we're going to take off all the little edges of the frets. Now everything's been filed down and flattened out with this little thing right here. All right, so I'm taking the file and I'm just going over each of the ends and just rounding them very ever so lightly. And as I'm going, I'm checking them with my finger to make sure there's nothing there, no burrs, and it's nice and round. Now I got the fret grinder out, and there's a groove in this file to make the tops of the frets just a little bit more narrower and clean up the ends a little more. Now I'm going back over it with the rocker. That's it, yep, the fret rocker there, and you can see it's got all kinds of different angles on it so that I can get onto every fret all the way along, and it's only 3 frets at a time, and it'll show me if any of them are rocking or any of them are high. Last thing we're going to use here, yep, Brillo pad. No, it's not a Brillo pad. Actually, what it is it's a little nail file pad, and I'm just cleaning the frets up nice. Now we're going to put some Dunlop on her here and just oil up the in between those frets. Now I'm not going to put a whole pile of oil on this, just enough to clean them up. Beauty. We're getting ready to go here. Gonna put some strings on this baby right shortly. All right, we're at that point now where we can start putting some strings on this guitar. We got the neck all nice and straight. We've cleaned up all the burrs. We've dressed everything. We've even set the bridge as well too. We've had a little bit of a problem along the way, which you didn't see in the video with the slot where the nut is gonna go. It actually got a little gouged in there when we took the plastic nut out, so we had to do some doctoring in it too. As you see here, we took this little piece of wood and we glued it in there, and then we filed it nice and flat. Then we took the brass nut and we did a little bit of shape into it too. We actually filed it down a little bit too because it sat a little bit high in the slot there. And now we've got it all ready to go. We can start putting some strings on this, set the nut up, set the grooves to everything, and hopefully we can be rocking on this guitar soon. Stay tuned. All right, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna drop that brass nut right down in that groove. We're not gonna glue it in place yet though, because we're gonna actually start throwing some strings on this thing. The reason why is because we're gonna get out our Fritz ruler. And once we get the strings on it, we're gonna check the 1st and the 6th string and set them to the height that we want to between the nut and the bridge itself. Then after that, we're gonna grab our radius tool out and we're gonna put it in so that we can set the rest of the bridge to the 1st and the 6th string to give it all the radius of 10 degrees, as you can see there. The other thing that we're going to do too is we're going to intonate this just to see how everything is setting, and we're going to check the height all the way across all the frets and make sure nothing's buzzing, nothing humming. And once all that was done, we took all the strings back off so we could glue the nut in. Okay, we got the glue out and we put a couple of drops of glue into the groove here to glue the nut in. Now I didn't put too much glue in there because we definitely want to be able to remove this nut at some point in time if we have to put a different nut in. We put a little flat beam on there and we put the clamp on just to hold it in place while the glue sets up. Now the nut's set in place, I went ahead and we grabbed out some painter's tape, and what we're doing is we're getting the painter's tape layer after layer after layer until it is at least as thick of or more than, actually slightly more than the fret itself. And then we'll take that whole wad of tape and move it over to where the nut is, so that when we go to file the grooves in the nut there, if we get anywhere as close to that tape, we know we have gone far enough. All right, we got the saddle and the nut file out here, and we are filing up all the grooves so the strings will sit in there nice and flat. All right, let's throw some new strings on this thing. Now we got the Ernie Ball strings out. We've got from the 10 to the 46 gauge there, and they are nickel wound. All right, you're probably thinking to yourself, why are you putting on 2 different sets of strings? Well, the reason is because the first set of strings came with the guitar kit, and they weren't that great of strings to begin with, but we just used them to set up the bridge and to get the nut and the placement that it needed to be. Now we're fine-tuning things, as you can see with these Ernie Ball strings that we're putting on now. We got the nut on this thing. We got the strings on this thing. We've got the bridge set up. We've got the nut set up. We got our height set up. We got the radius all set up. And it's intonated now too. Time has come to see if this will rock and roll now. So, off to the studio we go.
To be continued in part 5 of the guitar giveaway! We're gonna give away a guitar! We're gonna give away a guitar!
It's the Houligan here. We got to do a disclaimer, and the reason why is we're going to give something away. All right, so here's the disclaimer. First of all, let's start with YouTube. In the description, you're going to find the community standards for YouTube. We are abiding by all of them, which means YouTube has absolutely nothing to do with this giveaway any way, shape, or form. Just letting that right out there, and we are going to stay within the community guidelines with this giveaway. So that means, once again, either YouTube or Facebook or any of the platforms, social platforms out there that this video actually might end up on, we have no affiliation with them in any way, shape, or forms when it comes to this giveaway. The other thing, too, is we have no sponsors. We absolutely have no sponsors when it comes to this giveaway. We are the sole proprietors of this thing, which means the Houligan is the guy giving this thing away. Nobody else. So if you hear any names that are mentioned in the videos that you're about to watch, they have no affiliation with this giveaway. So don't call them and don't bug them because they haven't sponsored us in any way, shape, or form. The next thing is we need to talk about the Ontario gaming laws because I live in Ontario, Canada. So we have to abide by those laws. And the first one is you have to be 18 years of age to get in on this giveaway. Sorry, hate to say it, but that is what the case is. So the other thing is too, with the gaming laws, we're going to keep this giveaway between Canada and the United States. We're not going outside of any of those borders to give this away. Main reason why is I don't want to ship worldwide, just to let you know. We are only doing this in Canada and the United States, and that way I'm only dealing with all their gaming laws. So if you live in a province or in the States, you're welcome to get in this, but make sure that you check your gaming laws in them states or those provinces, and void where prohibited. That means if you are not allowed to gamble in that state or that province, you can't get in on this, all right? So I just want to make that perfectly clear. So I'm covering my butt, and it's a big butt. But anyways, if void where prohibited. So if you can't get in, I'm sorry to say about that. But anyways, once again, we're keeping it to Canada and the United States alone for this giveaway because we just don't want to ship worldwide. Next thing is, there is no proof of purchase. Can I say that again? No proof of purchase. Don't send me your money. I don't want your money. We don't need the money to get in on this. And when you see the rules, you'll understand why, which is coming up here right shortly. So once again, no proof of purchase. You do not need any money, or you don't have to pay me anything to get in on this giveaway. Okay, let's get down to the rules and the brass tacks of this giveaway. You have to subscribe to get in. That's the main number one rule. The second rule is you have to leave a comment. The reason why you have to leave a comment is because that's how we're going to pick our winner. We're going to use Pick a Winner. So we're going to upload the videos into Pick a Winner, and what we're going to let that do is we're going to actually let it pick qualifiers. So we're going to get 5 qualifiers. Once we have those 5 qualifiers, then we're going to put all those names in a hat, and we're going to go live, and we're going to pick the winner live. And then you have 1 week to get back to us and let us know that it's you that won that. If not, we're going to go back to the hat and go live again and pick another winner. So you have 7 days to get in on it once your name has been picked. Now, that doesn't mean that this is a game of chance. This is actually a skilled game because there's going to be 2 skill testing questions to the winner. So whoever gets picked, we have to give them skill testing questions. So it's not a game of chance. Just had to put that out there because that's another thing when it comes to the Ontario gaming laws. No games of chance. So we can't just pick somebody out of the blue and go, here you go, that's what it is. You actually have to pass skill testing questions, and there's going to be 2 of them. The first answer to the first question in the skill testing questions has to do with something in one of the videos. So you got to watch all 5 videos to see what the answer is to that skill testing question if you want to win the gift. And the second question is just going to be a math question. We just have to put that out there because it has to be a skill testing question. Otherwise, this is a game of chance and we're not doing that. The game is going to run from March 13th to July 22nd. Now, in the videos, you're going to see that we're going to say that we're going to pick a winner after 1,000 subscribers. Well, yes and no. If we get to 1,000 subscribers, but if we don't get to 1,000 subscribers, I have to put in that the game will end on a certain date, and that is July 22nd. Why did I pick July 22nd? It's my birthday. So that's when we're going to end the game and pick a winner on that day, and that'll be it. That's basically the rules of the games. That's how it's going to happen. So when you hear me saying in the videos, oh, once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we're going to pick a winner. No, we're not. We have to pick the winner on July 22nd because under the gaming laws here in Ontario, that's the deal. We have to give an end to it, which is fair. I understand that. We may never get to 1,000 subscribers. I don't know. So the game has to end at some point in time, which is July 22nd. How are we going to verify it's you? Because, hey, you know, anybody could just say, I'm the winner and email me. Well, here's how it's going to work is once we've picked the winner, we're going to give you an email address so that you can contact us. When you contact us, we're going to give you a code and you have to go back and edit your comment and put the code in the comment so we know it's you. To all you scammers out there. So what's the prize worth? It's worth $350. And I have to tell you that because under the Ontario gaming laws, we have to tell you what the value of the prize is. So the value of the prize is $350. That way you probably won't have to claim it on any taxes or whatnot, because I think you have to be like $600 before you start claiming giveaways on taxes and whatnot. Down in the States, that is. I'm not sure. Check with your gaming laws. Once again, and void where prohibited. Now, the other thing is we have to let you know is we are not collecting anybody's personal information except for the winner. And what we're going to do with that information is basically just correspondence back and forth and your address so that we can ship you the prize. Everybody else don't want your information, don't want your personal information. So the only information we will be collecting in the end will be from the winner anyways. So we're not keeping anybody's personal information for anything other than to send you the prize. Okay, last rule is you have to be willing to send us a picture or a video of you receiving the gift. That's right. We just want a picture or a video of you so that we can put it up for everybody to see that somebody actually did win this gift. Okay? So it's kind of mandatory. It's a thing that we want to do. So if you're not willing to do that neither, then don't get in. But hey, why not, man? If you're getting something for free, just want to get a picture of it or a video of it. The last thing, and is to cover our asses a little bit more here, especially with the gaming laws in Ontario, is the odds of winning. Well, this is a very gray area and a hard one to get into because we don't know how many people are going to subscribe. We don't know how many people are going to comment to this thing. So how do you put a number on it? So here's the thing is we've said in the videos that you're going to watch that we want to get to 1,000 subscribers. So we're going to base it on 1,000 subscribers. So you have a 1 in 1,000 chance of winning the gift, okay? You may be more, maybe less. It's a gray area. I'm doing my best to put the odds out there for you, but we were trying to get at least 1,000 subscribers out there, so we're gonna put it out there as 1 in 1,000 for the odds. I know there's a lot of stuff going on here and there's a lot of rules. Everything is in the description, like I said, so go check all the rules in there. Go check out all the gaming laws if you want. Go check out the YouTube community standards if you want. It's all in the description. We'll leave it all in there. All right.
They should have a little disclaimer that says, do not operate heavy machinery while watching this show.